Yo guys, what is good? Ase once again with another Exospheres video. And today we're tackling the new story mode. I started, I believe, at 3. I don't know if you could see that in the quick overview that I tried to pause as long as possible so you could see the team. So here we're skipping through the story and all that. So I tried to play around with a couple of different teams because although you guys said you're fine with me playing with my good teams and all that, I kind of wanted to make a somewhat relatable video where I show you guys what can be possible. So this is gonna be about a 25-ish minute video because it takes quite a long time to progress through each of those stages with with the heroes on auto. On manual. I actually cleared, I think, up to 4 or 5. So it was 3, 4, 5. Yeah, those I cleared on auto with Bathory, FC Rara, FC Iris, and I believe FC Garth. Those were my 3, and I just went through, so I didn't really pay attention what's going on there. And this time I actually had to pay attention and play somewhat more carefully with my units. So this first team, I like my Astarte. However, the loss of her insane mana gain makes her so much weaker. And one consistency that you will see here throughout the entire matches is that I have FC Iris, and I feel she is a needed component because you're constantly running behind in mana once you use your burst abilities. So in that fact, I don't know if burst might actually be the perfect way to go, or if you might be better up trying to tank it out. But in all honesty, those units smack so damn hard that yeah, you will be hard pressed to tank for more than 2 or 3 turns, especially because most of our healers, the mana gain, the removal of mana gain from elements definitely hurts. And now that you're forced to have Schmidt in there, he's not bad, but he's not really providing much for you besides the heal block. And I feel I would rather use Ramji in there for the heal block and then use something else. I don't know. Yeah. I could have cleared this with the old mana gain probably in half the time, just because Astarte and Rara would just kick off so much quicker. And in all honesty, I couldn't even bring like some of the more interesting units, in my opinion, simply because I didn't have them geared up anymore. I actually made a fairly harsh gear cleanse over the weekend where I sorted out any gear that is legendary and doesn't have 2 high rolls in at least 2 stats. Anything that has rolls below the upper element, I just cleared out because those were just on my account. I never leveled them up, but they were on some heroes, so I needed to just get rid of them. There you could see if somebody gets targeted, especially because there is some abilities where the heroes kind of act in tandem. one guy attacks and the next guy just feeds off that. And they also have some final hit ability, so if one guy of you gets targeted, you're basically dead. There you could see a starter, once she can pop off, she just wrecks havoc. However, it doesn't happen as often anymore, and in my opinion, it's pretty sad because she was definitely one of my favorite characters, and because I lost the bursty ability, it's not reliable for me anymore while it used to be before. I feel I will not use her as much as I used to, so it is what it is. Maybe they introduce another form of mana gain in the future. In case you're wondering why I don't 3-star these, it's simply because I cannot break fast enough. I have none of my characters is at 90, so I have no hero that even has the capability of being element enhanced. So you have to live with 2 stars until you can get that element enhanced on your nature hero. On, like, it depends what you have on your account. If you have an Illum and a Bathory, then you could get into some of the 3 stars, but don't expect that to be the case. For you guys, the main priority should be clearing it, as well as for me, like not only for you guys, for anybody, it should be clear it to unlock 11, I believe it is, for the new R1 gear, and try to get as many pieces as possible for when the next pieces are added. This one was fairly easy, and if I had some enhancement on my units, for example, if I had an enhancement on Rara, I would just have brought Rara, and then yeah, I would have cleared this probably with the stars. I wanted to bring a team like this that has like none of the elemental stones, so you can see I don't have any mechanic or nature in here, just to show you the earlier levels can be beat if you have the right gear on your heroes. Granted, everybody in this is at least 350,000 with I think Garth, Iris and Otard are about 400,000 in power, but you could see it went pretty well. So I don't really want to call this a guide because I don't think it is. It is a walkthrough, and I just want to show you some combinations of heroes, and after we go through all of the different stages, I will go through 3, 4, 5 and 6, and after that we will go through all the gear of the units, so you can see what you're kind of expecting. I tried a lot of my other units out, but as I mentioned, because I did the gear cleanse, a lot of my units don't even have full sets anymore because I'm not using them, and I'm basically waiting for new legendary / faded gear to equip them back up. Okay, so that is cleared out as well. And yeah, so 3 and 4 are kind of easy, and then for 5 you see I need to bring stronger teams that have the ability to just burst things down. In this comp I brought Sabrina because I thought, oh, maybe you guys don't have like another like tier 1 hero besides Bathory, and I feel Bathory, Ullum, and FC Iris are considered like in the upper echelon of what you can have on your account. And if you don't have those, um, like it gets significantly harder. So I wanted to bring at least one hero that is not like tier 1. So I brought Sabrina, and you can see her damage is nothing special. Otard would have done the same thing for me. Rara could have replaced her. So whatever you have on your account in terms of strength, that can help you. Actually, Ullum is not doing me any favors here, because the small breaks that I do, they are not really relevant, because most of the power that comes is from Bathory. And yeah, you can see my break counter doesn't go up, so I won't be able to 3-star this as well. You have to be insanely careful with when to attack one of these counter units. Because you're missing one slot, you cannot simply bring a healer or a reviver in there, because they will get clapped as well. A lot of times these units just, here as you can see, like they all ganged up, and even through the through Ullum's passive, like they dealt quite a lot of damage. So yeah, it's not for the faint hearted at all. Like these units clap, and you will have a hard time breaking them, just because they all have like, at least 4 stones, and most of them 6. And yeah, there is no good nature slash mechanic hero that you can bring that has dots and could do any favors for you. There's, yeah, maybe Hoenn or something. If you have Janai, she would be really good to break some of the stones. Janai and Dorka would work wonders in here, just because those two together would basically dot everything up. You have constant heal, which is really nice in these scenarios. As you can see, I have no heal whatsoever, unless my units are equipped with the dark set, like my Bathory is, and also my Sabrina. My Otard also has a dark set now. So those 3 are the only ones that I can bring as damage sources, besides Rara, just because the other ones would just all die because they don't have the correct stones. Yeah, what else is there to say? We go now into the last match, and that one was a nut, simply because, yeah, like I hate the new mana system. The new mana system, for me personally, makes so many units simply useless. I tried it with revivers of different kinds, and they just couldn't get the mana. If I wanted to get the mana, I would have to have 3 units in the front row. You cannot change the formation in this. And they simply didn't have enough mana to revive. Once they were able to revive, they were the last ones standing, and it didn't matter anymore. So I tried this a couple of times. My Leppin used to be basically my go-to, because she could gain mana when I paired her with Gar for the block. All not possible anymore, and I feel revivers take probably the biggest hit, because in, I would say, 7 out of 10 cases, you want your back row to have 3 units because those are the units that need the mana for the big damage. It doesn't matter if your front units have 10 mana but cannot deal with the enemies, right? So yeah, I don't know what you guys think about the mana system in general. When I put out my piece from yesterday, I got a lot of very mixed feedback that people were like, yeah, the old mana system sucked because light, dark, and machine just got shafted. Yeah, in one instant that was correct, but in all honesty, is there any light, dark, or machine unit that you now bring that you didn't bring before? For me personally, not at all. Like, I bring exactly the same units, but my more powerful units, like, or my units that I considered more powerful, like my Astarte, my Dagus, my Lepin, like all these legendary units, they have no relevance for me. Just because, yeah, they don't do the job at the time I need them to do their job. And like, I feel if I bring my Dagus, for example, my goal is to get to 5 mana as quickly as possible. And this was possible due to block. So I could have a turn 2 Otard go hard. I can do this with no hero, so even my Otard took a huge hit just because my other units cannot gain the mana. All in all, this is not supposed to be a video about mana. You can see my Iris dropped, and at this point I was like, oh, do I have to restart? Because, yeah, mana gain is difficult. So I went ahead and did it anyway, just because I thought, okay, if my battery can clear up the units and if my Rera can make sure that the units are dodging or are not as accurate anymore, that might help me. So the reason why I bring Rera and not another damage dealer is simply because she reduces accuracy and I have the chance of dodging. That is the only reason. Oh, and also because she protects my other units. It's not necessarily for the damage, it's for the utility that I bring her. Which is weird, because I would have rather brought my Otard just because I feel she deals more damage. But it's very subjective. I also have seen that I don't crit a lot on these units. And I don't know why that is. If they have like a crit resist or something like that. Usually I was able to crit like probably 2 out of 3 times. Sometimes a little bit less. But here maybe I crit 2 out of 5 times. I mean, look at this. Not a single crit. My Wrath, no crit. Nothing of this crits. Which is super weird. And then this guy, I have no idea what gear he has. Or if he has gear at all. But yeah, my units don't crit as much as they used to. I have no idea why that is. If this is just chapter 11 thing that they have a high luck stat, so you cannot crit against them very often. They're like 2 crits. If you don't crit here, or if you get blocked, you're basically at a restart. Alright, so let's start up the game and I will show you my runes now. And the story needs to be skipped. Okay, I will see you in a second when we are in the game. Alright, so we are in the game. So here are my units that I used. You can see Rara stats right here. Nothing too special. She used to be my number one, but it has kind of faded out after I invested too much into other units, like investing into all my rares and legendaries that are currently simply unusable for me. I feel kind of bad because I could have had at least 6 units at 90 with really nicely powered up gear. And now I'm sitting on ducks. Anyway, so my battery here are her stats. Then show my Otard. This is her here and her stats. And then you can see like all my attackers are very similarly stacked up. They're just a couple points across. So yeah, it's nothing like special, but they're all kind of the same-ish. And then my Garf that I used, I had to swap around some gear at some point, and thus his gear is, or her gear is not upgraded. Yeah. I like the block. The block is pretty good, so that's why I have a frost set on him. I feel at least before Awakening, the frost set is so good because you block so much damage. In case you don't know how the whole block system works, you have these this block defense rate of 67%, and that is a flat mitigation. If you block, this is the damage that you mitigate after defense. So a 10,000 hit becomes literally like, this is 30% reduction, so it becomes 7,000, and then 70% of 7,000, so 4,900 down. It's a 2,100 hit, so nothing. Pretty good, that one here. And then my Iris, she has machine set. I feel machine set is good because I never want her to get silenced or anything of that sort. But probably I would go with another set if I had things to re-roll. I'm currently severely stuffed on gold coins because I had to re-roll my entire gear. I went to through a lot of gold coins, probably 1,000 gold coins to get this back after I did my Awakening experiment. So then we have my Astarte. My Astarte, I feel she works pretty well with Frost and Nature set, just because her block goes up to 500-ish, and her dodge goes up to, what? It's 12, right? Come on. 8. So her dodge goes up to 120. No, to 112. So I feel dodge and block, I should settle on one of them, but I'm not sure which one of them I want to go yet. So she's probably my weakest unit out of my attackers. However, nobody hits as hard as her. just because she has the highest multiplier. So if she gets off, she hits really, really hard. I just don't have her gear and everything maxed out yet, so she's kind of on the back burner. And then we used a loom. That's her gear and her stats. So yeah, the last unit we used was FC Annie. She doesn't have a full faded set yet, and those are her stats. In case you're wondering why I have a machine set on her, it's simply because in PvP I don't want her to get CC'd before she gets one of her silences off, because I used a lot of Otard recently. Still can't manage to get her to work though. Like, I'm trying, it's just not working out for me. Then, yeah, my Dagus is not performing, so that's why I couldn't bring him. So her I brought again, so she has nothing special. She can deal some really, really good damage because she has the increased own critical damage by double. It hits so hard once you get a crit, but you need the gear for it and the stats to actually make it work. So yeah, my Leppen, she died before she could get any of the things off, and I feel even if she had better gear, it's simply the mana gain that hampers, because 4 mana on her revive is too much, and without the FC she loses way too much. She loses a lot of stats, and I don't want to take it off because her abilities are just so much better. Couldn't make her usable, and then yeah, my rest of the units, I have removed almost all their good gear, and they're kind of in a limbo state because I literally don't use them. They all have some sort of gaps in between where I unequipped everybody. Like this guy, for whatever reason, had already like 2 stats that I consider high. Same with here. These 2 stats were high. These, actually, this is a freaking amazing piece. I shouldn't be on him. And yeah, if 2 stats are high, I kept the piece. If not, then I simply got rid of it. So my whole account is a little bit messed up at the moment, and I need to fix it up again. I tried other units as well. I tried a little bit with Xeon, but he just gets clapped. Doesn't matter, because he's too weak. And I brought in her. She gets clapped. I thought, oh, maybe I can try to break some more if I bring another nature unit into there. It didn't matter in the end. Most units are kind of worthless on my account, so I have to go with basically my core 10 units that are these 4, these 2, these 2, and probably her, and start kind of. So those are my core units. Anything else is just not cutting it. They are dying too quickly. I cannot bring my healer, so even if she was full faded, I couldn't bring her because she wouldn't heal. Like, this 3 mana heal wouldn't do anything, and this heal would almost never go off. Anyway, I rambled way too long. I still hope you enjoyed it, you took something away from it. Again, this is not supposed to be a guide or something. but just showcase how you could run it. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed it. And if so, consider subscribing to my account. Helps me a lot. And in the next couple days, I will try to get through all the others as well. I actually have to do 7 on my phone because every time I'm at like 10% ish, the emulator just crashes for me, so I cannot move on. I have tried like 6-7 times, every time 10% crashes. It's really difficult to do things on my phone in the first place and then record stuff. So with all that said, it was a pleasure to have you here, and I hope to see you in the next one. Until then, enjoy the grind.